All right, welcome back. Now, there are many issues in Nigeria begging for answers at the moment, from the suspended secretary to the government of the federation to the billions of naira that was recovered by the FEC in an apartment in Lagos, and of course, the unending drama in the Senate. Nigerians have many questions, of course, with no answers. But one question that is frequently asked by many in this country is the state of health of the president. Since President Muhammadu Buhari returned from his 49 days medical trip to London on March the 10th, he has rarely been seen in public. He presided over the Federal Executive Council meeting of March the 15th, which journalists were able to film and report. Subsequently, there were reports that he had meetings with the Senate President Bukola Saraki, the Speaker of the House of Representatives Yakubu Dogara, and other notable Nigerians as well as ministers at different times. Now, all these meetings were held behind closed doors, with journalists unable to get the current picture of the president. This situation, coupled with rumors that the president's health is deteriorating, is raising anxiety among Nigerians by the day, especially in the opposition. Last week, the president did not attend the FEC meeting, that's the Federal Executive Council meeting, which was his third absence in a row. The meeting again was presided over by the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo. Now, Minister of Information Lai Mohammed again repeated the narration he told journalists 2 weeks ago that the president was absent from the meeting as a result of medical advice from his doctors. Of course, information managers of the president have released press statements at various times to assure the country that the health of the president is not deteriorating and that he is making a good progress. Nigerians, however, are not satisfied, with many calling for public appearance of President Buhari. Media reports last week had it that 3 former military heads of state were in Minna for a meeting to discuss the president's health. And, well, that has actually not been confirmed, but that is the report out there. And, of course, as you know, that is not helping to douse the tension or the situation at all. Now, many are concerned that the retired generals may be shopping. We do not know. We do not know. We are absolutely not sure. We do not know what they discuss, but we understand that they may be discussing, well, about the next election and who to present. We do not know. But what exactly is the state of health of President Buhari, and is he strong enough to attend to state functions? And of course, in the midst of all this, we've had groups of lawyers led by Femi Falana, senior advocate of Nigeria, who have come out to say the president should just take a medical leave, go and treat himself and get better, and then he could come back to resume office effectively. But then the issue is still out there. And joining me to continue the discussion on this issue, I have Nelson Ekojimi, who is a political analyst, and I also have Shola Sarako, who is a public affairs analyst. Let me start with you, Shola. It's not abnormal at all that the health situation of the president is raising so much concern in Nigeria. It's not abnormal.
No, it's not. This is our second birthing at this fort. Remember the time of President Yaradua.
The late President
Yes, of blessed memory. And this was how the drama started. And we have started the drama all over again. So this is not strange to us as a people. We've been here, we've had a situation where we've had an ailing president, and there were never facts being put out in the public space about what nature of sickness is dealing with, what progress he is making in terms of recovery and all that, and that's repeating itself again. But
we've heard, for instance, people like Nobel laureate Professor Olusoyinka has actually come out to say the president should make his health status public, he should disclose it. We've had a couple of people too who have actually come out to say the president should just come out to say what exactly the problem is, and we don't know if that would help at all. But what's your take on that?
First, I don't know what that would serve. I mean, we're not a nation of 170 million specialists, health specialists, who, as soon as we get that information, will be able to say, oh, this is what the president can do to be better. It would only just create more fodder for people to start speculating on what the consequences of such a health status will be. And secondly, when you think in terms of people's health, it's still a private thing. Globally, you are the one who has the rights, or the only one who should be able to determine whether you want to make the state of your health public or not. Having said that, because he is a public officer, because he's sitting in the position of a president, he should at least be upfront enough to help us know whether he's competent, or his health is good enough for him to continue to be president, because we know that that can be a stressful office to sit in. So it is President Buhari's prerogative to determine, to tell us exactly what is wrong with him. But he has told us when he came back from the medical
everybody knows he's not well. Anyway.
He said that he has never been this sick. And he's going to be resting. He really said it. I remember I saw that clip where he said, and he told us almost the kind of seriousness of the ailment. He said he had blood transfusion. The blood transfusion can only mean if just a specified number of sicknesses that could demand your blood to be transfused. So we already have a general idea of how serious his health status is. Now, what we don't know is presently what is the state of his health. Is he better? Is he capable of continuing in that office? That's what we are not sure.
Nelson, do you get the impression that if the president came out, for instance, to say, look, I'm suffering from headache, I have a broken leg, or I have this, that would help to douse, just put an end to all this talk almost every day about the president's health status?
No, I don't think so, because we live in a country today in which truth has taken flight. Even when you tell people the situation of things happening to you,
people would still doubt
you.
Right.
And again, even if Mr. President comes out, you know very well that Mr. President had a military career. He's not a medical expert. So one would expect that, his medical doctors are in the best condition based on his, authority, to either disclose or not. But be that as it may, I want to align myself with Shola, because for me, the presidency is one. The presidency is peopled by the president, the vice president, and members of his Federal Executive Council. And so far, so good. I don't think the act of governance has stopped in any way. Even yesterday, on Wednesday, when they had the meeting, I read where some projects were approved, for takeoff and what have you. So for us as the people, I think the time has come for us to really get serious about issues affecting our body polity, how we can get out of it, how we can deliver on, the dividend of democracy, ameliorating the human condition, rather than, all this drama about the health of Mr. President or not, because we all know very well that there's none among us who is immune from falling sick. And the truth of the matter is that this president, when he went to London on January 19th or thereabout, and when he came back, he made it very clear that he was sick, he was going on a medical vacation. And on returning, he said he will even there might be need for him to go back, to reassess the situation. So like Shola has rightly said, whether the president is fit enough to perform the functions as demanded by his office should be our concern now. If the man says he's fit enough, if the man says he's resting, I don't see what the public appearance of Mr. President at a meeting that holds whether Mr. President is present or not. I don't see how that affects the economy.
Let me take it from where we speak from both sides of our mouths as a people. In one breath, we say we want strong institutions. In another breath, we wrap all the power around the human being. The structure that Nelson just explained is the institution of the presidency. Okay? If that institution is still performing the functions that is required, why are we insisting on the physical presence of this one individual, as much as we all love him? Do you understand? He hasn't told us. When he was going on that leave, he by himself, nobody told him, he by himself transmitted power to the vice president by himself, because he realized, okay, I'm going to be away, there's going to be a vacuum. If he's still here and he hasn't done any such thing, and the people who work with him have told us at several times, oh, we've had a meeting with him, we've briefed him. The fact that the whole of the 170 million Nigerians have not seen his picture, as long as the work we have called him to do is still functioning, still going on, I don't know what his picture does for us.
One of the things,
or maybe these people know something, Deji, that we don't know.
Well, but one of the things that has been coming through in this whole thing, especially from the opposition, is that, look, this is just the same thing as what we saw under late President Yar'Adua, that even Buhari himself, you know, is on record to have called for his impeachment.
No, Deji. President Muhammadu Buhari called for the impeachment of President Umaru Yar'Adua because President Umaru Yar'Adua went on medical vacation without fulfilling the constitutional provisions. He didn't transmit power. Then we had to invoke the doctrine of necessity. So it's a different ball game entirely. In this case, the president is here at home. His aides, even the vice president himself has come out to tell us he met with the president. And even yesterday, the central bank governor. I'm sure the media people can attest to it, that they saw him going to the presidential villa. He said he went to brief the president. And the Minister for Information and Culture has told us repeatedly that the president is resting based on medical advice, except if we are more interested in seeing the president and we want the unexpected to happen. Right now, the president is obeying his doctors because that is what can keep him alive to perform this responsibility as the president.
What would you say, or what would be your reaction to the call by some like Femi Falana, the SANs, you know, asking the president to take a medical leave? Because sometimes you get the impression that the pressure Nigerians are mounting on the president to may just not be helping him, may not be helping the healing process, so to speak. Because, you know, he probably might want to take the medical leave, but then taking another medical leave too will generate another round of controversy and all of that. But do you think the president should just, you know, if it's necessary for him to do so, that he should just take it and, you know, probably, excuse my word, damn what people may say? And
this is what creates the proverbial cabal that we keep hearing about. The fact that when a man is in power, he has people who surround him who derive their own power or their own authority from his authority. And if he is indisposed, it means that those people also will be displaced in terms of what they can wield in terms of power. So we have come to realize as a nation, twice now, that when we have an ailing elected officer, structures around him will want to keep him there for as long as they can because they derive their own power from there. So why are we not talking as a nation about what can we do to strengthen that institution against such situations? For instance, the president has not been seen in public or at those stipulated official functions as he should have been. What is the Senate and the National Assembly doing, apart from doing their drama to protect themselves? What are they doing about looking at our constitution in such a way that we would be very much more specific as to what should happen in situations like that?
I mean, because the constitution is pretty clear as to what should happen.
No, it says if
the president becomes incapacitated.
But who is going to tell us if he's incapacitated or not? Because you see, all we are getting...
That's what I'm saying, that the constitution is pretty clear who should let us know. I mean...
it says his doctor?
Well, not his doctor,
or the federal executive council.
Exactly.
But they are all saying he's okay.
Yeah, exactly. And so what? So in that case, we can just assume that he's okay.
And even you were asking about people advising the president
to take a medical leave. Yes,
I'm sure a lot of these people advising the president are people who are not anywhere near his medical history. Neither are they his medical doctors. So I want to ask, on what basis will you advise somebody against medical advice to go on a medical advice if his doctors say you don't need, you know, there's at times.
And in any case, if you had a president who actually took a medical leave the first time
by himself, without being prompted,
so if it became necessary, I don't think that president would say he
doesn't have to wait for you.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, whether we like it or not, come on. The president's life must be very important to him.
To him,
I mean,
of course, he has a family. The president, he has children, he has wife.
Important than the office.
Yes,
definitely. So we are just a nation of drama. Do you understand? We create drama out of nothing. We like to talk about things.
Because that's the impression that is being created in some quarters, that it's like you have a man who is so desperate to hold on to power, to hold on to that, even at the expense of his own life. I find it difficult to understand.
Because it's only when you are alive that you can wield power.
Exactly.
So I'm sure, like Mr. President has said, the reason why, even with all the hula baloo about the president making appearance, you heard what his special advisor on his new media, Loretta, had said over the few days, that Mr. President will only go on medical vacation or medical treatment based on medical advice. But for now, the medical advice that Mr. President has is that he should rest, and that is what he's keeping to if he wants to get better. So I think what we owe ourselves at this point in time is to pray and encourage Mr. President to religiously abide by the medical advice.
Sometimes I wonder if Nigerians actually pray for their leaders.
Oh, but they do.
We do. But at times some of us are hypocritical.
Exactly.
You know, and like the Yoruba people say, Inuji. Some people might be praying for you, but in the other aspect,
because they are also looking at their own interests.
Yeah.
Maybe the president not being available would serve their interests better than being here. So they will create all this. In your
opinion, all this while, do you think the vice president has actually stepped up to the plate and has been performing very well?
I am shocked at the way everybody's going on about the president, because as far as I know, I can be corrected, there's not been a gap in governance. What needs to be done is getting done. Appointments that need to be made are being made. Contracts are being awarded, as we saw in the last
the Vice President is heading committees, they are meeting.
There's a whole lot of work going on. The government is working. It wasn't the same way it was when it was in the days of Yaradua, where nobody could move because they were hounded. They were hamstrung by the unconstitutional environment. This is not the same thing. He's still sitting there. The vice president is being the president. And like I said on another platform, we voted a joint ticket. We voted for 2 men in the place of 1. That means that we anticipated that one might be incapacitated or not be available. This second one should be able to do the work while this one is not available. That's what the president and vice means. So, and we have not seen Professor Shibaju acting as if he can do the work.
Fake meetings that we have talked about, we have seen that at these fake meetings in which Mr. President was absent, it was presided over by the vice president.
That's his job.
That is what should happen constitutionally. So I think what we should do, like we have rightly said,
not in the as we saw under Yaradua, where, for instance, the Attorney General in that government
was the one exactly.
So
that's not happening.
Things are not the same with the situation we're under Yaradua, but it can get better. And the only thing we can do to make ourselves serious as a people is that the time has come for us to focus on those institutions. For me as a person, I'm more concerned about how do we have 24 hours on interrupted electricity. How do we create massive employment for our teeming youth? So those are the issues that the issues of security.
Let me quickly ask you one last question before we go, and I want to get the reaction of. I'll start with you. What do you make of this? Meeting of the generals. I mean, former heads of state. I mean, that meeting still generating a lot of reaction. They didn't tell us what they discussed, but they say anytime the 3 of them meet like that, people get it means things are about to happen. I don't know what.
If their meeting is going to cause us to catch a cold, then it's unfortunate that we as a nation have not moved. There's just been a lot of motion. There's not been movement. Because you're talking of people who have traversed the political history of Nigeria for the past, 4 decades.
Yes, that's true.
And they are still considered to be as influential as they can be the one to determine which way the country will go or not. We have problems. It means that the young people don't know what their future is going to be. Because if they are still waiting for the likes of the former generals to be the ones signposting them as to who should be the next person to lead them to the country that they want, then they are not engaged. They are not involved, and they don't have a future. Because what vision does these 3 people, or do these 3 people have that can match the vision of a group of young people between maybe 20 to 35, 40 years old? The way they see the future? If these are the people who are still waiting to tell us who to vote for, who should be put forward to be the president of this country, then we are not interested in moving forward.
Well, in aligning with our position,
and I think
the generals have a right to meet like any other Nigerian. But the truth of the matter is that if these are the people that will determine our political destiny, then we have lost it as a nation.
Honestly, I can argue with that. I really can argue with that. I don't know why we're making, you know,
I would like to hear
that meeting.
DEJI, of a meeting of young people who are going to sit down and say, okay, we want to chart a course for this country. I would gladly fund such a meeting. I would gladly be part of that meeting because it is their future. It is their lives. The rest of us have done most of our lives. We're just doing a little bit more and then we're on extra time. These people you're talking about are on extra time. Yeah. So these other young people...
No, they're on injury time.
Injury, not even extra.
Yes,
these young people of this nation whose lives are being discussed in these places, who cannot knock themselves together. If it is some drama about entertainment and quanko, you see them all loud and whatever. But when it comes to the politics that determine their lives, they are not interested. They don't pay any attention to it. Then they don't understand that it is their future that they are mortgaging for this trap. We've been here. We keep allowing these same people determine for us who is going to be the next president or who is going to be in the next leadership or who they endorse. Is all of us go in the direction as if we can't think. No, I think we have a problem. If that is what is going on, I say if we don't know, we're not there at the meeting, but if that is the reason why they're meeting, then Nigeria has a problem, a big problem.
Well, I want to thank you both for coming on the program. Nelson Ekunjime, thank you very much for coming on the program. And Shola Salako, thank you very much for your contributions. And let's just wait and see what happens. But that's it on the program. If you want to join us again or you want to see this program again, it's simple. Just go to our website. It's TV360Nigeria.com. You'll find this program and lots more there. You can also, of course, follow us on our YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/TV360Nigeria. Join us to get the latest videos and updates. You can also follow us on Google+. It's at TV360Nigeria. Or you can just like us on Facebook. The address is facebook.com/TV360 online. Do follow us now to get all the latest updates about happenings in the country. And on Twitter, our handle is at TV360 online. We thank you very much for watching. We'll see you again next week.